Hi, I'm Benjamin, and I've been playing Dungeons & Dragons since high school. Over the years, my experience has expanded to include systems such as GURPS, Darks, Heresy, and Shadowrun. Now, I'm here to make my experience available to you and to help you make your games as much fun as possible. So, let's talk about Shadowrun, particularly my favourite edition, Shadowrun 4th edition. For those who don't know Shadowrun, it's a cyberpunk fantasy game in which you play as professional criminals with cybernetic and magic enhancements trying to get by in a corporate dystopia. It's an incredibly fun game that lends itself well to episodic storytelling and even allows players to have several characters and just trot out whichever one they want for the job at hand. Mechanically, Shadowrun is awesome! Because everything revolves around rolling huge numbers of dice in an immensely satisfying way, with high-end characters rolling upwards of 20 dice that make an awesome clattering sound when they hit the table. The game absolutely justifies a dice tray and a big cube of d6s that's normally only going to be found in a Warhammer campaign. The mechanic I want to discuss today is Edge. Edge is a special attribute that every runner has, and it functions as something of a luck mechanic. It allows you to boost your dice pool, reroll failed rolls, act first, take extra turns, negate the effects of a glitch, or take a final shot after going down. A character with a high score is practically untouchable until their luck runs out. In desperate situations, one can also burn Edge, permanently reducing your Edge pool to achieve an automatic critical success or to survive certain death, which we will discuss later. For now, let's look at the most common use of Edge, getting better results on key rolls. Edge is one of those good things that gets better the more you have of it. The reason for this is that when you spend Edge to roll extra dice, you add your Edge attribute in dice to the roll. So if you have a measly Edge of 1 or 2, you're only adding 1 or 2 dice. But if you have a maxed out Edge score of 8, then you add a whopping 8 dice to your pool. Edge dice are special because they explode! Well, not literally, of course, but whenever you roll a 6 on an Edge dice, you can roll an additional dice. If that dice also rolls a 6, you get another dice, and so on. This can allow an edged roll to vastly exceed expectations if the dice gods are in your favour. There are 3 forms of dice manipulation that a character can perform. You can spend Edge before rolling, spend it after rolling to add dice, and spend it after rolling to reroll fails. So the logical questions are, why spend Edge before rolling, and which option is best? The first question is easy. Spending Edge before rolling means that every dice in that check explodes, not just your Edge dice. If you have 1 Edge and 30 dice, that means that suddenly you have 31 dice and each 6 gets you an extra dice. By the math, that probably ends up netting you in 5 to 6 extra dice from the explosions. Rolling Edge after rolling the dice doesn't retroactively make your 6s explode. Thus, it is always worse to add dice afterwards than adding them before rolling. So, is it better to spend Edge for extra dice, or is it better to spend Edge on a reroll? That varies greatly based on how many dice you roll and how high your Edge attribute is, along with when you declare you're rolling Edge. As a rule of thumb, you should count up how many dice you'd reroll, and if that's more than your Edge attribute, then you should take the reroll. If it's equal or less, then roll the extra Edge dice instead. However, it's not that easy when you have exploding 6s and, well, you don't know what you're going to be rolling if you're trying to decide whether you're better off edging or re-rolling before the dice hit the table. Which is why I made this chart. Link in the description. The math is pretty simple, with every dice having a 6 in 18 chance of success, while every exploding dice has a 7 in 18 chance of generating a success. On the chart, a combination of dice and Edge that is favourable to using Edge for extra dice is green, while having the odds favour a reroll is red. As you can see, the more dice your initial pool has in it, the better a reroll is over adding dice. But the higher your edge score, the later you come across that line. So, one final form of dice manipulation is the long shot. That's when you have so many penalties on your roll that your net dice pool is 0. In that instance, you can spend edge to add dice and just roll those edge dice to achieve your goal by pure fluke. In a real game example, we have Wildcat. Wildcat is a human with an edge score of 7, the highest it is possible to get without the lucky advantage combined with being human. Her highest dice pool is when she's swinging her vibro sword, with a very healthy 16 dice to play with. Cross-reference that with our chart, and you'll see that her best use of edge is always going to be to spend it before rolling, netting an average of just under 3 2/3 extra hits by doing so, compared to the 3.5 or so extra hits from a reroll. However, rerolling with her sword is better than gaining edge after the roll, which nets her about 2 2/3 hits. However, while Wildcat is a badass with her sword, she is nowhere near as good at negotiations, a skill in which she has a measly 4 dice. Add 7 dice to this, brings it up to 11, almost 3 times her starting amount. In this instance, she should never reroll, as even if she rolled 4 ones on her initial roll, the 7 extra dice is enough to remove the critical glitch and has the potential of getting more hits than she could with a reroll. Remember, glitches and critical glitches aren't determined until the dice stop rolling, so rerolling a critical glitch is a valid strategy. So let's talk about why you would ever use a point of edge to downgrade a critical glitch to a glitch, or to neglect a glitch without rerolling. Well, the fact is, there are reasons to do that, just not on normal rolls. The first reason is if you have some form of negative quality that reduces your glitch threshold on a check to the point where almost any check will be a glitch. An example of this would be a character with the Gremlin's negative quality, where at rating 4, you need 4 less ones than normal to trigger a glitch. That means that if you have 8 or less dice on the roll, then you need a total of 0 ones to roll a glitch. AKA, you always glitch. No amount of rerolls will save you, and even if you add dice, the odds of you rolling over your incredibly roll glitch threshold are high. Given that, if you want to avoid a glitch, you are going to need to spend a point of edge. Spending edge to go first in a round, or take an extra initiative pass, has obvious value in a fight, allowing you to get the first shot off, or get extra shots in right at the beginning when they count the most. This use of edge is straightforward and doesn't really need any analysis. Which brings us to the dead man's trigger. This is the most circumstantial use of edge, but if you meet the conditions to use it, then you pretty much always should do so. It requires several things to happen in order to activate. Firstly, you have to die, or get knocked out. Not a promising start, really. Secondly, you have to have actions left on your turn. Either another initiative pass, a held action, or you have to get killed before you have a chance to act this initiative pass. Finally, you have to have a point of edge to spend. No edge, you're out of luck. Literally. So, what happens once you've spent your edge? First, you roll a check of your body attribute plus your willpower attribute, needing 3 hits. If you fail, then you die or go unconscious down 1 edge with nothing to show for it. If you succeed, you can take a simple action other than movement. So, what's a simple action? Well, as the name suggests, shooting someone is a simple action. Your options include a single shot, a short burst, or a long burst, any of which can potentially drop your attacker, and depending on your skill, your foe, and the weapon, the bursts can potentially take out multiple foes before you go down. Casting a spell is a complex action, so mages are out of luck. But you know what is a simple action? Pulling the pin on a grenade, or firing a grenade launcher. If you want your runner to go out in a blaze of glory, using a dead man's trigger to arm a grenade in a room full of hostiles while his chummers beat a hasty retreat is a good way to become runner legend. You know how to be more legendary than that? Pulling the pin and somehow surviving. Burning Edge is a desperation move, often setting you back several runs worth of karma in progression, but it's better than dying. Sometimes it's a close thing though, as this isn't resurrection magic or anything as gentle as that. This is the bullet deflecting off your skull and putting you in a near-death coma that your enemies mistake for death. This is losing an arm from the grenade you just detonated to spite your enemies, and being alive enough for the street docs to rebuild you from some old cyber limbs they have lying around. Hand of God, the name of this trick, should be avoided if you can. It's going to set you back. It's going to leave you scarred. And it's only a matter of time until your luck runs out. And sometimes the only way to avoid this is by an ungodly fluke that would make Domino say, "Wow, that was lucky." Which brings us to the final use of Edge, permanently burning it for a critical success. This is what you do when you need something to succeed or everyone dies. You've got one rocket, and Lone Star just rocked up with an APC full of firepower, and you're out of Edge to make absolutely sure you get the hit. You're in a fast draw duel with a red samurai, and whoever lands the first solid hit is going to end the other. The building is rigged to blow, and you have one chance to disarm the bomb. It's better than using Hand of God to survive, as it keeps you awake, attached to your limbs, and in action, but it's not something you ever want to do. The higher your Edge score, the more burning a point hurts, because it costs more to get back. So, how do you recover Edge? There are several ways to get back spent Edge. Firstly, there's Natural Refresh. Depending on your Game Master, that might be at the start of every session, the start of every run, or one Edge each time you achieve a goal during a run. Some Game Masters have it refresh at the start of each day. Additionally, Edge can, at the Game Master's discretion, be awarded for impressive displays of roleplay, heroic acts of self-sacrifice, achieving important personal goals, scoring a critical success against the odds, or scoring a critical glitch. The last two of these are mechanical in nature, and so deserve some attention. What does it mean to get a critical success against the odds? Well, to me, as a Game Master, this means that the critical success must meet two criteria to qualify. First, it needs to be a significant roll with consequences. The Cyber Troll, with 30 dice of armor, critically dodging a normal round from a holdout pistol doesn't count, since that bullet wasn't going to do so much as tickle him anyway. The crit success on a data search check to find a nearby coffee shop, likewise, isn't worth Edge no matter how lucky. Failure has to matter in order for it to be worth Edge. My second criteria is that the roll must be significantly better than the statistical average for your dice. If you've got enough dice to critically succeed on an average roll, it's not against the odds, and thus does not qualify. So what about the critical glitch? Well, that's pretty much as written, but you need to take the results of the critical glitch. No rerolls, no spending Edge to downgrade it. You need to suffer the bad luck to balance the scales of getting more good luck. My final comment here is to Game Masters. Be generous giving out edge. It's a big investment to get a decent edge pool, and players should be encouraged to make full use of it. Characters can potentially spend significantly more on edge than on cyberware at character creation, and that investment should get comparable play if they remember to use it. Give them side missions specifically to let them get edge back. Let them have fun with it. If someone has spent the 95 points to play as Mr. Lucky, that's almost a quarter of their build points invested into that one stat. Let them use it a lot, because it is clearly the kind of character they want to play as and have fun with. Being too stingy causes players to hoard edge, never spending it in case they need it next time. And that reduces the fun of the game. Even the most black trenchcoat playstyle should allow players to use their edge when needed without fearing they'll never see it again. And that's Edge in Shadowrun 4th Edition. That's all for now. Don't forget to like, subscribe for more content, and join my Patreon. Members get custom render art of their characters, monthly one-shot games run by me, and potentially they even get to take part in a full long-term campaign. In any case, keep well and have fun.